Pastor of the Week segment today here on the Bottom Line Show. I'm Roger Marsh, joined in studio by an entourage from the International Church of Orange County. I've got Pastor Curtis Carter with me today. Pastor Carter, welcome to the Bottom Line today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This is an interesting combination that you've got going on here, coming from sort of a denominational bent, moving into a church plant that's completely non-denominational. When did you sense God leading you in that direction?
Well, probably about a year and a half ago, God said, it's time. And I said, well...
Don't you hate when he does that?
Isn't that something?
Because deep down in your heart, there's something that and he says, now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, Lord, for what? He says, well, you're going to plant my house and grow it. So I said...
It does kind of sound like if you build it, he will come, right?
That's
and
right.
You're just like, thanks, can I have a little more direction?
Exactly.
Blueprint?
Exactly.
Finances? Something? Yeah.
Exactly. He said, I've already given you everything you need. Plant my house. And so I did not question the Lord and planted his house. Mm-hmm. And so a year later, here we are, the International Church of Orange County, and we are rocking and rolling.
Yeah. That's all. I know it's funny. That's the short and long answer of how a church plant takes hold, especially here in the 21st century.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. It certainly is. What about you? For you, I'm always intrigued with how, God speaks to someone and says, now I want you to go into ministry. Was there a business background before that, or how did this happen for you?
Well, that's an interesting question. I believe all along, God had called me into ministry many years before I actually officially joined the Christian church.
Okay.
In one capacity or another. Yeah. And then the first 7 years of my life while living in Rome, New York, I attended a Catholic church.
Wow.
From time to time.
Uh-huh.
And then as an 8-year-old living in Frankfurt, Germany, I began to notice that I was spiritually affected by the large church that stood just footsteps away from where I lived.
Now, that's kind of a big mood swing to go from New York to Germany. What happened? Yeah. Parents, transfer, military?
Right. We had a military transfer.
Okay, there you go. All
exactly.
Right. Yeah, you're a brat. What branch are you a brat of?
The Air Force.
Air Force brat. Air Force. Okay.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. And it actually it runs in the family. I mean, my grandfather was in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. So it just... I am a military brat.
Yeah. So you did get to travel, but you got to see a lot of different cultures, not only just from the cultural side, but from the spiritual side, too, it sounds like.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, very interesting, is when it started, it was like a magnetism. I kept looking at that church across the street and wanted to go inside and look around. And as an 8-year-old kid, you would think you'd want to go to the playground or go over and see the farm animals.
You were that kid who wanted to go see the church.
Kid,
yeah.
Right? So, So that's when I think the call was uncovered. And then you fast forward to 1999. I was a college basketball player, and I had given my life to Jesus Christ while in college. And, then God opened up another door for me to travel with the world-renowned international Christian sports organization called AIA.
Oh, yeah, Athletes in Action. Very good, yeah.
And so we traveled to various countries in Zimbabwe and South Africa. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking with Pastor Curtis Carter today here on the Bottom Line. He's our Pastor of the Week, and I don't want to gloss over your AIA involvement. Those guys, that's top of the heap. I mean, we're talking top tier, Division I, Division II. These are. I mean, it's not like I'm a Christian and I know how to play basketball.
Right, I'm a warrior.
Yeah, I'm a basketball player and I'm also a Christian. I mean, you guys, those AIA games are very competitive.
Very competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, we even played against the Yugoslavian national team.
Wow.
I mean.
Yeah, and held their own.
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Now, you hear some voices and a little bit of movement in the background here, too. Pastor Carter did bring his son and daughter along with him, too. And I think that's great because that's kind of part of the family atmosphere of the International Church of Orange County.
That's right.
Let's talk. So 1999, you're now AIA, and let's take it forward from there.
Right. 1995, Athletes in Action. 1999, coming to California, we started a Christian nonprofit organization called Crossover Broadcast Network Incorporated.
Okay.
And my initial goal for that corporation was to deal with our emancipated foster care youth, those that were ready to emancipate and had a dream that became a goal, right away.
Right.
And if you understand the foster care system, many of our youth are not ready necessarily to begin life
right.
at 18.
Yeah, they just hit 18, and I know Jimmy Wayne, the country singer, has been very outspoken about saying, hey, we've got to make sure that kids in foster care are better prepared. And,
Right.
and your ministry
Right.
took that on.
At that time, exactly.
Good for you.
And so we maintained that corporation for a while, and then, God is amazing. He says, okay, next assignment.
Yes.
You're in the church now, and these are the areas I want you to get into. And the next 12 to 15 years I spent in church ministry in one capacity or another. You name it, I've pretty much done so, except the senior pastoring role or an actual pastor on staff, if you will. But I've done everything else up until now. And then God says, okay, this is next.
Yes. So this is brand new for you.
Brand new.
Wow.
Brand new.
Very, very, very cool conversation today here with Pastor Curtis Carter, who's the senior pastor of the International Church of Orange County. We've got a link for their website up at thebottomlineshow.com, and Pastor Carter is the pastor of the week here on the Bottom Line program. Okay, now that you've been in the senior pastorate role for a while, what's the best part of this for you? There's a smile on your face, and I know it's not just because your son and daughter are in the studio with us, but because there's a lot going on in your ministry. Talk about that.
Yes. Winning souls for the kingdom of heaven and watching lives become transformed in authenticity.
Yeah, love it. Well, your website for the church, there's one for your ministry, but also Matthew 28:16. How much more obvious can you get?
Can you be?
I love that, though. It makes a lot of sense. You're saying, hey, look, this is who we are, and this is what we're about.
That's right.
It's all right there in the Great Commission.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Winning souls instead of just entertaining the goats or whatever.
Come on now, you're preaching.
Whole different. I'm sorry. You're the pastor of the week. I'm just the host of the broadcast here. But you like that. That really energizes you.
That's right.
And we bring that up because I know for some churches it's more about the confessional and teaching part of it. But there aren't as many true evangelists or evangelistic churches as there once were. Talk about how you balance that.
Yeah, that is such a great point. Just actually at about 2 a.m. this morning, I had an interesting conversation with a colleague of mine just about that authenticity amongst our pastors here in our community. And he held me to the fire to make sure I was sound in a particular area of accommodation theology.
Interesting.
Concerning other religions in our community.
Yeah.
And
of which there are many now. Let's face it, you can walk through the spectrum, and I will walk through the urban spectrum. People talk about, Orange County, we all know what Orange County looks like. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm the only one who looks like me, who talks like me. There's so many different things now. And I love the diversity, but you realize, too, that it's not just a cultural issue in terms of these are people from different countries. They're bringing a religious impact, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so one of my colleagues was having, some spiritual insight within himself and says, you know what, Pastor?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I got to deal with him. He's in my network. So we had a great conversation.
Good. Online.
Yes.
He didn't come over to your house, knock at the door at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right?
Yeah.
Wake up, Pastor.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But that is an intrusion, though, and that's part of pastoring in the 21st century.
Exactly. And that made me realize that will happen, especially in the culture that we have today. The diversity is very important. And here in the 21st century, the culture that we live in, everybody is open season.
Yeah.
Is open season. And so as a senior pastor, I have to be able to take the bitter with the sweet and accept the criticism that is in today's society is inevitable.
Yes.
No matter what we do, there's going to be someone out there that disapproves of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so who do we seek approval from ultimately?
That's right.
From mankind or from God?
That's right. From our Almighty Father, God in heaven.
And you are right there with it at International Church of Orange County. Pastor Curtis Carter is the senior pastor there. He's our pastor of the week today here on the Bottom Line, and we're just having a great conversation, getting to know about your church, your congregation, and your family, obviously, who's part of whom is here with us as well. Let's talk about the future, because obviously, looking ahead, there are so many things that are happening right now in the immediate that as senior pastor, you wind up playing whack-a-mole a lot. Just, what's the biggest crisis coming up? You're looking at me like, yeah.
Right. I'll say, okay, now which one are you going to say now? Which angle are we going to take? Okay.
But at the same time, though, you are you're the provision for the congregation. God's speaking to you, and you're looking ahead and seeing a year down the road, 5 years down the road. So, what is your greatest hope for the future of the church?
I mean, that's a great question. I love the body of Christ and ministering to God's people. My greatest hope for the future of the world, because we are an international church, as we know it, is God's kingdom here on earth. As long as it gets magnified for God's glory.
Yes.
Here on earth, because it's only going to be via spiritually that we are able to make the changes and become transformed here on earth.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And let the light of Christ continue to shine. This is what's so important, because we have so many things that you brought up, so many areas of things that are of a dark nature. We need the light of Christ to shine in the darkness.
In the darkness of this world now.
Right now.
I mean, and how many people are living in that hope of eternal glory and saying, okay, that's great, but the kingdom's being built here too, as you point out. And that's the message that you're sharing at the International Church of Orange County. Pastor Curtis Carter has been my guest today here on The Bottom Line. Matthew 28 and then 16.org is the website. Is there another way we can reach you online, or is that the best way?
That's right. That's the best way. Or you can check in on Facebook. Facebook's pretty busy.
That's right. Like the page, see what the church is doing.
That's right.
And pastors, if you're not on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter right now, my question is, why not?
That's right.
That's where people are communicating. That's where people are dialoguing.
That's right. And for the most part, people are visual today, more so than audible, if you will, in terms of what they're going to retain at the moment of your message, right?
Yeah.
That picture.
Right,
So.
that's it. That's so important. Well, Matthew 28, 16.org is the website for the International Church of Orange County. Pastor Curtis Carter has been our Pastor of the Week. Curtis, great to meet you. Thanks for being with me on The Bottom Line today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Well, great to have you in studio, my friend, and congratulations on the new broadcast. Pastor Curtis Carter with the International Church of Orange County can be heard every Sunday afternoon now at 2:30 on KBRITE here, AM-740 and AM-1240. As we continue, I want to talk about God's provision in our life, the fundamentally transforming America segment of the broadcast. Oh boy, something going on in Stockton that is just, it's kind of making me scratch my head, but especially as a Christian, I really want to focus in on this, because this could be a really nasty precedent if we don't do something about it soon. Coming up next as The Bottom Line continues.